I'm standing at the front of the conference room presenting quarterly results when my new boss Victor interrupts me mid-sentence. He's leaning back in his chair with that smirk I've come to hate, the one that says he's about to enjoy this. Cunnel. His voice cuts through my explanation of the sales figures, loud enough for all 17 people in the room to hear clearly. Pack your things. I'm transferring you to the Ojota branch effective immediately. The room goes silent. I can feel everyone's eyes on me, some sympathetic, most just uncomfortable, a few barely hiding their schadenfreude. Ojota branch. Everyone knows what Ojota means. It's the branch they send people to die professionally. The location that's been bleeding money for 2 years, that corporate keeps threatening to shut down, that no manager has successfully turned around. The branch closes in 30 days anyway, Victor continues, his smirk widening. But you'll have a nice quiet place to finish out your time here. Laughter ripples through the room. Not loud, raucous laughter. That would be too obvious, too cruel. But quiet chuckles, the kind that say people are relieved it's me getting humiliated and not them. I stand there for a moment, my presentation frozen on the screen behind me, my carefully prepared quarterly analysis suddenly irrelevant. Every instinct wants to fight back, to defend myself, to demand why I'm being exiled to a dying branch when my numbers are solid, when my team performs, when I've done nothing wrong. But I don't. I close my laptop with a soft click, gather my materials, and walk out of that conference room with my head up and my face carefully neutral. Because Victor has absolutely no idea what he just triggered. He thinks he's won. He thinks he's gotten rid of me. He doesn't know I've been preparing for exactly this moment for 3 months, ever since I discovered what he really is. As I pack my desk, Victor's standing in my office doorway eating plantain chips like he's watching entertainment, occasionally making comments like, "Don't bother coming back, the position won't exist anyway." I think about how we got here. Victor Okonkwo joined our company 4 months ago as regional manager, brought in from outside with impressive credentials and an even more impressive network. MBA from a prestigious university, 10 years of senior management experience, connections to major clients. Except it was all fake. I discovered it by accident during a routine restructuring meeting. Victor was presenting his background, and he mentioned a specific project at his previous company, a telecommunications rollout I happened to know about because my former classmate worked on it. Later, curious, I reached out to my classmate. Victor Okonkwo? Never heard of him. And that project was led by someone completely different. I dug deeper. The MBA. The university had no record of him. The previous companies on his resume? Either he'd never worked there or had worked in much lower positions than he claimed. His entire professional identity was a fabrication, carefully constructed and impressively maintained. I took my findings to HR, thinking I was doing the right thing, thinking the company would want to know they'd hired a fraud. HR buried it. I don't know if they were embarrassed about their failed background check, or if Victor had connections higher up than I realized, or if they just didn't want the hassle of admitting they'd been fooled. But they shut down my complaint, told me I was making serious accusations without proof, despite the proof I'd provided, and suggested I focus on my own work rather than investigating colleagues. Victor found out, of course. Someone in HR must have told him. And from that day forward, I was marked. He couldn't fire me outright. My performance was too good, too documented. But he could make my life miserable. He could exclude me from key meetings. He could block my promotions. And finally, he could exile me to Ojota, the branch where careers go to die, and watch me fade into irrelevance. What Victor doesn't know is that I've been preparing, documenting, building a file on him that goes far beyond fake credentials. Because when someone tries to destroy you for telling the truth, you don't just defend yourself. You investigate why they're so desperate to silence you. I arrive at Ojota branch on Monday morning expecting bad, but reality exceeds my pessimistic expectations. The office is a 2-story building in a strip mall, sandwiched between a fabric store and a defunct restaurant. Inside, it's worse. Desks covered in dust, computers that look like they haven't been turned on in weeks, filing cabinets with drawers hanging open revealing chaotic papers. The staff, all 7 of them, look up when I enter with expressions mixing defeat and curiosity. "Are you the new manager?" A woman in her 40s asks, her voice flat with exhaustion. "I'm Cunnel," I confirm. "And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this is pointless, that we're just running out the clock until corporate shuts this place down in 30 days. But I'm not here to preside over a funeral. I'm here to figure out what really happened to this branch. Over the next few hours, I learn the grim details. Vendors haven't been paid in months. Some have started legal proceedings. The client list that's supposed to have 40 active accounts actually has maybe 5 who still respond to calls. The previous manager quit abruptly 3 months ago, and the branch has been rudderless ever since. Why did he quit? I ask. The staff exchange uncomfortable glances. He said he couldn't work under these conditions anymore. One of the younger staff members finally says. He kept talking about irregularities, about things not adding up. Then one day he just walked out and never came back. I move into the branch manager's office, a room that looks like it was abandoned mid-sentence, with papers scattered across the desk and personal items still on the shelves. I start going through drawers systematically, looking for anything that might explain the branch's collapse. In the bottom drawer of the desk, locked but with the key still in it, I find a manila folder labeled Confidential, Payment Discrepancies. Inside are invoices that don't match ledger entries, vendor complaints about unpaid bills despite proof of payment being processed, and most damning, an internal memo dated 6 months ago on company letterhead. Regional Office Directive. Shut this location down quietly over the next fiscal year. Do not investigate payment irregularities. Process as operational efficiency decision. It's signed with Victor's initials. I'm studying these documents when my desk phone rings. The landline I didn't even know worked. I answer without thinking, and Victor's voice fills the office, clear and arrogant. Except he's not talking to me. He's on a call with someone else, probably hit the wrong extension. Good. Cunnel is out of my hair at Ojota. In 30 days, that branch officially closes, and no one will trace the missing money back to me. The paper trail all points to the previous manager who quit. My hand moves to my cell phone, hitting record before my brain fully catches up. I hold it near the desk phone speaker and let Victor keep talking. How much total? The other voice asks. Victor laughs. From Ojota alone? About 12 million. Small potatoes compared to the other branches, but it adds up. The beauty is that Cunnel is there now, and when corporate does their final audit before closing, guess whose signature will be all over the last month's transactions? They talk for another 3 minutes about moving money, about covering tracks, about Victor's plan to frame me for the missing funds from Ojota while the real money, taken over months from multiple branches, stays safely hidden. I record every word, my hand trembling slightly, but my mind crystal clear. Victor didn't just exile me to a dying branch. He sent me to the scene of his crime and handed me the evidence I needed to destroy him. I gather the 7 staff members in what passes for a conference room. Really just a space with a table and mismatched chairs. They shuffle in looking defeated, probably expecting me to give them the "it's been a good run" speech and start processing severance paperwork. Instead, I close the door and look at each of them directly. Give me 30 days, I say. I know this branch is supposed to close. I know you've all been looking for other jobs. I know you have every reason to believe this is over. But if we can turn this around, if we can show corporate that Ojota can be profitable, every one of you keeps your job. Even if they still decide to close this location, I'll make sure you all have positions somewhere in the company. A young man named Emeka speaks up, his voice skeptical, but with a thread of hope. Sir, with respect, the last 3 managers said something similar. They all gave up within 2 weeks. What makes you different? I could tell them about Victor's embezzlement, about the recording, about my plan for revenge. But that would put them at risk. Instead, I say simply, because I have nothing to lose and everything to prove. Victor sent me here to fail. I'm going to succeed just to spite him. Are you in? Something shifts in the room. These aren't lazy employees or incompetent workers. They're people who've been demoralized by a situation they couldn't control, watching their workplace deliberately sabotaged by forces they didn't understand. Given a chance, given leadership that actually cares, they're ready to fight. One by one, they nod. 30 days, the older woman from earlier says. Let's make them count. We start by diving into the books. I assign each staff member a specific area. Emeka takes client relations, working to reconnect with accounts that have gone dormant. Another team member, Blessing, tackles vendor relationships, trying to salvage what she can. I take the financial records, cross-referencing every transaction against bank statements and invoices. What emerges is a pattern of systematic theft so brazen, it's almost impressive. Ghost vendors billing for services never rendered. Payment transfers that go to legitimate companies but somehow never arrive, with the money diverted through shell accounts. Invoices split across multiple months to avoid triggering audit thresholds. And all of it, every fraudulent transaction, every fake vendor, every diverted payment, links back through various shell companies and fake accounts to one person, Victor Okonkwo. He's been draining money from Ojota for 8 months, probably longer from other branches. The previous manager must have figured it out, tried to stop it, and got pushed out for his trouble. Victor's plan was elegant. Let the branch collapse naturally from supposed mismanagement, close it down, and absorb any missing money into standard closure costs. No investigation, no questions, no consequences. Except now I'm here. And I know what he did. And I have documentation. I reach out to someone I haven't talked to in years. Chioma, a friend from business school who now works in the corporate auditing department. We meet for coffee, and I'm careful, not revealing too much too fast. If someone wanted to flag financial irregularities at a branch level without tipping off the person responsible, how would they do it? Chioma studies me over her coffee cup. This is about Victor, isn't it? She knows. Of course she knows. The audit department pays attention to personnel moves, especially suspicious ones. He's stealing, I say bluntly. A lot. From multiple branches. I have documentation for Ojota, but I need time to build the full case before he knows I'm investigating. Can you help? Chioma is quiet for a long moment. This is dangerous, Colonel. Victor has friends in high places. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong, I interrupt. But I need you to trust me. When I say go, I'll send you everything. But not before I'm ready. I need to turn Ojota around first, show them I'm competent and credible, make it impossible for Victor to paint me as a disgruntled employee making false accusations. She agrees to help, but warns me. Be careful. People who steal this much don't stop at financial crimes. If Victor realizes you're a threat, he'll escalate. Her words prove prophetic sooner than either of us expects. Within 2 weeks, my team has performed miracles. Emeka reconnects with 3 major clients who left because of poor service under the previous management. They're frustrated with Victor's main office, his arrogance, his empty promises, and when Emeka offers them direct, personalized service from Ojota, they jump at it. We sign contracts worth 18 million Nigerian nairas in new business. Blessing manages to settle with most of the angry vendors, negotiating payment plans that get them off our backs while we rebuild revenue. The numbers start climbing. Where Ojota was losing 2 million Nigerian nairas monthly, we hit break-even by week 3. I compile everything into a performance report and send it to corporate with copies to the Regional Oversight Committee. It's professional, factual, and impossible to ignore. Ojota isn't dying, it's reviving. 5 minutes after I hit send, my phone rings. Victor. His voice is tight with barely controlled fury. What the hell do you think you're doing? He demands. I see you've been busy at Ojota. Very impressive. Except you're making me look bad. I'm doing my job, I say calmly. Isn't that what you wanted when you sent me here? Don't play games with me, Colonel. I know what you're trying to do. It won't work. That branch closes in 10 days regardless of your little performance. He pauses, then his voice drops to something more threatening. Actually, I need you to do something. There are some transactions I need processed this week. I'm sending the details. Make sure they go through without any questions. The transactions arrive in my email an hour later. More fake vendors, more diverted payments. He's trying to use me to continue his embezzlement, probably thinking he can make me complicit and therefore unable to report him. Sure, I reply to his email. I'll process these right away. Then I save every message, every instruction, every piece of evidence of him explicitly ordering me to commit fraud. My cloud folder of documentation grows thicker by the day. A vendor shows up at my office unannounced on Wednesday morning. An older man in a worn suit who introduces himself as Mr. Adelik. I need to talk to you about money your boss owes me, he says, closing the door behind him. Victor Okonkwo has been stringing me along for 6 months. My company provided real services, IT infrastructure maintenance, and he keeps promising payment, but nothing comes through. Now I'm facing bankruptcy. How much does he owe you? I ask. 14 million naira, Mr. Adelik says, his voice breaking slightly. My entire company's liquidity is tied up in this. I've been to the main office 12 times. Victor keeps claiming processing delays, paperwork issues. But I've been doing this long enough to know a scam when I see one. He pulls out a folder thick with documents. I started recording our conversations. I kept copies of everything. Help me get my money, and I'll give you everything I have on him. The audio recordings are devastating. Victor admitting payments were processed but diverted. Victor telling Mr. Adelik to stop making noise or he'd blacklist his company from future contracts. Victor threatening legal action if Mr. Adelik went to corporate. Each recording is another nail in Victor's coffin, and Mr. Adelik hands them all over with a bitter smile. Destroy him, he says. He's been doing this to small vendors for years. We can't fight back because we need the company's business. But maybe you can. After days of analyzing the complete picture, my documents from Ojota, Chioma's careful probing of other branches, Mr. Adelik's recordings, and the digital trail of shell companies and fake accounts, I finally see the full scope. Victor has embezzled 80 million Nigerian nairas over 18 months from 4 different branches across the state. The money flows through an intricate network of fake vendors and shell companies, all ultimately leading back to accounts he controls. It's sophisticated, it's audacious, and it's completely documented. But I still need one final piece. Proof that he's aware and actively directing it, not just that he's the beneficiary of some subordinate scheme. I need him on record making decisions, giving orders, showing intent. That proof arrives sooner than I expect, in the worst possible way. Corporate announces a surprise audit of all branches, including Ojota. Victor is stunned when the audit team arrives and finds my branch not just functional but thriving. He shows up personally, trying to undermine my presentation to the auditors. This revival is suspicious, he tells them. Someone should investigate how Kunnel managed such a turnaround so quickly. Perhaps there are irregularities. Except this time, unlike the conference room 4 weeks ago, I have confidence and proof and a team backing me up. I present our numbers calmly. New client contracts, vendor settlements, process improvements. The auditors are impressed. Victor is seething. As he's leaving, he pulls me aside. You're done, he hisses. I don't know what you think you're proving, but you're finished. 2 days later, I'm suspended for policy violations. Victor forged my signature on a document authorizing irregular payments and discovered it during the audit. HR puts me on leave pending investigation. Suspension frees my hands. I'm no longer bound by company politics or chain of command. That night, I compose one carefully crafted email with the subject line, "For your urgent attention, evidence attached." The recipients are the CEO, the CFO, the head of legal, corporate audit, and every member of the board of directors. The attachments include complete financial documentation of the 80 million Nigerian nairas embezzlement scheme, audio recordings of Victor's conversations, proof of fake credentials, evidence of his attempts to frame me, and witness statements from Mr. Adelik and other vendors. I hit send at 11 p.m. and watch my phone all night. The first response comes at 6 a.m. from the CEO's office. Emergency board meeting scheduled. Your presence required. By 8 a.m., anonymous sources, probably people in the company who've wanted Victor gone for months, start sending me CCTV footage of Victor taking envelopes from vendors, having private meetings with shell company representatives, everything I needed but didn't have. I compile it all and forward it immediately. That afternoon, men show up at my apartment. They're not subtle about their intimidation. Standing in my hallway, asking threatening questions about whether I've reconsidered my accusations, suggesting it would be safer if I withdrew my complaint. I film the entire encounter on my phone, their faces clear, their threats explicit. Then I send the video to HR, to legal, and to the police. Now Victor faces not just embezzlement charges, but harassment and witness intimidation. The board meeting happens 2 days later in the main conference room where this all started. Victor walks in confident, probably expecting to defend himself against vague accusations. Instead, the CEO looks at me and says, "Kunnel, please present your findings." For the next 90 minutes, I walk the board through everything. The financial trail, the fake vendors, the diverted payments, the audio recordings, the harassment, Victor's fake credentials that HR buried. Every piece of evidence laid out methodically, professionally, undeniably. Victor tries to deny it. This is fabricated. Kunnel has been unstable since I transferred him. But then one of my former co-workers at Ojota, the one Victor had planted to spy on me, who I'd fired for reporting my activities, breaks under pressure and confesses. He admits Victor paid him to monitor me, to report on my investigation, to help frame me for the policy violations. Victor's face goes white as he realizes the betrayal. His planted spy just became the prosecution's witness. "You're finished," Victor finally snarls at me, abandoning pretense. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. I have connections. I'll make sure you never work anywhere again." He storms toward the door, but security is already there, summoned by the CEO during my presentation. "Mr. Okonkwo," the CEO says coldly, "you're terminated for cause effective immediately. Security will escort you from the building. The authorities have been notified and will want to speak with you." The CEO calls me to his office privately the next day. "Colonel, I owe you an apology. Multiple people in this organization failed you. HR should have investigated your initial complaint about Victor's credentials. Oversight should have caught the financial irregularities sooner. I should have paid closer attention." He pauses, looking genuinely troubled. "You did the work we should have done. You put yourself at risk to protect this company. And I want to know, what would make this right? I've thought about this moment for weeks. 3 things, I say. First, keep Ojota open permanently. That branch and those employees deserve to succeed. Second, make sure every vendor Victor stole from gets repaid in full. And third, I take a breath. I want to lead the regional restructuring. I want to make sure this never happens again in any of our branches." The CEO considers, then nods. "Regional Director. Full oversight of 4 branches including Ojota. Triple your previous salary. Authority to rebuild systems and processes. You start Monday." Then he adds, "Also, we're pressing full criminal charges against Victor. Fraud, embezzlement, forgery, harassment. The prosecutor thinks he's looking at 10 to 15 years. Victor is arrested the following week at his home. As they escort him out of the corporate headquarters in handcuffs, someone must have tipped off the media because cameras are everywhere. He sees me standing in the lobby. Our eyes meet for a moment. His face crumples with the reality of his total destruction. Career gone, reputation destroyed, freedom about to be taken, all because he tried to destroy someone who wouldn't stay destroyed. I don't gloat or smile or say anything. I just nod once, acknowledging the end of our war. My new office is on the executive floor, a corner space with windows overlooking the city. The company sends out an announcement to all staff. Colonel Adebayo promoted to regional director, effective immediately. He will oversee strategic restructuring and operational excellence across all branches in Lagos State. My phone explodes with congratulations from colleagues, from the Ojota team, from people I barely know who are just glad to see someone decent win for once. That evening, standing in my new office as the sun sets over Lagos, I whisper to myself, "He sent me to a dying branch thinking it would kill my career. Instead, it was exactly the place where I rebuilt everything. Not just my career, but my confidence, my sense of purpose, my understanding of what I'm capable of when pushed to the edge." 30 days ago, I was humiliated in front of my peers, exiled to Ojota as punishment for telling the truth, expected to fade quietly into irrelevance. Today, I'm a regional director overseeing the same branches Victor used to control, implementing systems that will prevent anyone from ever stealing like he did again, and watching my former tormentor face justice. The Ojota branch, once scheduled for closure, once a symbol of failure, is now the highest performing location in my region. The staff who were ready to give up 30 days ago are now training other branches on client service and operational efficiency. Mr. Adeli got his 14 million Nigerian nairas, plus interest and an apology. And I learned something valuable. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the setup for the best thing. Victor thought he was destroying me. He was actually positioning me perfectly to destroy him and take everything he thought was his. The branch that was supposed to be my grave became my resurrection. And standing here in this office, looking out at a city full of possibility, I finally understand what Grandpa used to say. The same stone the builders rejected can become the cornerstone. Victor rejected me, tried to bury me in Ojota. But that rejection was the foundation of everything I've built since. I smile, genuine and satisfied, and start planning Monday's regional restructuring meeting. There's work to do. There are systems to fix. There are people counting on me to make this company better. And for the first time in my career, I have the power, the position, and the proof of competence to actually do it. Victor wanted to end my story. Instead, he just started my next chapter, the one where I win.